about talk radio and had been following us. Our fans on talk radio, you guys listen, and, you know, it's kind of like you know all of us. You're friends with all of us because you listen to all of us. And we're all on the same stations, but we don't know each other. Sean and I only met a couple of times. When I was at Fox, I only saw Sean like twice, maybe 3 times while I was there. And Mark and I had never talked before, never interacted, didn't even have the same circle of friends. I'm more like Rush Limbaugh in a way. Rush is kind of off on his own island and kind of doesn't really, you know, he's Rush Limbaugh. And we all pay homage to the king, but he kind of is off on his own. I am the same way, in a way. I just don't interact with a lot of people, and I just kind of keep my head down and just keep working. But if you listen, you might have heard a feud that seemed to be going on. And I don't even know how it started. I don't know anything about it. We tried not to play into it because I knew people were misguided. I just knew something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong. It was just bad. And you, the listener, had said to me, and I know you said to Mark, and I know you said to Sean, and all of it, you guys, what is going on? You guys just have to be better to each other. Just be better to each other.
Unite. Join
unite.
Forces.
You're on the same side.
Yeah.
I know. Well, we never did. About 18 months ago, coincidentally, you will now see that it wasn't a coincidence. I write to Sean, to Rush, to Mark, and to Laura Ingram, who I didn't have a problem with, and she didn't have a problem with me. And I said, look, if there's any problems between us, can we just put them aside? And I apologize for anything that I might have done in the past, and said, can we just all start over? Well, Mark and Sean immediately wrote back and said, yes, and we're very, very gracious. Last night, and I've now become friends with Mark Levin, and we just saw Mark in Washington.
Just 3 weeks or a month ago?
Yeah. And so we saw him up in Washington and had a nice hour with each other. First time that we had ever met. Last night I'm on the Mark Levin show, and he said, can you tell me about what you just said on Monday about your illness? And so I talked to him about it, and you could hear that he was genuinely concerned as a friend, and it was touching. It was honestly touching. I said to him, you know, Mark, now you can understand why I wrote that letter to you. He was the most gracious, one of the bravest men I have ever heard. Mark got on and said, you wrote me a letter. And he's told me this in person. You wrote me a letter. And he said, I reread that letter several times. And he said, it was handwritten. And I know the time it took you to think of that letter and to write that letter. And he said, it was one of the nicest letters I've ever received. And here's what's amazing. He said to me last night on the air, but truth be told, I should have written that letter to you. Wow. Is that brave? Is that kind? Is that gracious?
Really cool.
Yeah.
Is that that's a good man. That is a good man that will say that. And I just wanted to publicly acknowledge him and thank him for his being genuine. Thank him for being kind. I just received an email from Sean Hannity a few minutes ago. And Sean they're good men. They are really good men and truly care. Sean just wrote, you got to slow down, dude. Got to slow down. He's like, I'm watching you last night and you've all the stuff that you have on development. Please slow down. He's like, we lost Andrew because he wouldn't slow down. Please slow down. Breitbart.
Oh.
And Sean, as I will write to him, I will do as I am directed. When, believe me, I have asked over and over again, tell me what to cut. Have I not, Pat?
Oh, yeah.
We've begged in prayer.
Many times, yeah.
Begged. Please, just tell me. What do I stop doing? He won't tell me.
Did you ever hear, cut Jeffy?
No, but it's weird. I hear like a lightning. Spoons.
Really?
That's what I hear.
The word spoons.
That's what I hear.
I think that's the sign right there.
That's the sign. Jeff.
This seriously is one of the better things that's happened in a really long time. The mending of the fences with Mark and Sean. That's a really good thing. That could wind up to be a good thing, not just for you guys, but the country. Because
I think
there needs to be unity there.
You know what? There is. Sean has had a real change of heart. I've had a real change of heart. Mark has had a real change of heart. That's remarkable.
And I think pretty much...
And in media people, and quite honestly, and I don't mean this to sound, I don't know how to explain this. The people in our business are not exactly humble. It is hard. It is a hard balance to be on the air for your opinion. Give your opinion and then remain humble when you have millions of people that are like, well, Sean says it's true. Well, Glenn says it's true. Rush says it's true, so it's got to be true. It's really hard to remain humble. To see these guys with the humility, God is doing something here. And if we can all just humble ourselves, that's the first thing. That's the problem with our foreign policy. That's the problem with our jobs. That's the problem in our country. That's the problem with our banking. Everything. Humility. Think of what the White House said about the, what's his name? Josh Gruber. The guy who said, we've got to...
Yeah, John Gruber.
Yeah, John Gruber. Where, the people are stupid, and so we can lie to them. And transparency works in our favor because the people are stupid. What's the answer there? Humility. The people are stupid? Who elected you king? Who made you the superior officer to all your fellow beings? Yeah, are there stupid people out there? Yes. But there's a lot of intelligent people out there, too, that just don't agree with you. Who elected you? And I say that as a guy who is trying desperately to be more humble, in my opinion, as well. As I wrote to, Ed Schultz this week, as he was going off, using my illness to further Obamacare. I got news for you, Ed. If it wasn't for private industry, private medicine, I may not be here today. And yes, did I have the advantage because I'm wealthy? Yes, I did. But what have I done with it now? What have I done with it? I am currently raising money in my own time to help people who can't afford it. My wife and I have helped people who can't afford that. We are doing everything we can to get the word out and to connect with people who are in my position to help them get onto insurance, to help them get into the VA, to help them further their cause, to raise money to help these vets. That's what we do. We don't stand around and bitch about it.
It's worth pointing out, too, that the program he was talking about, Obamacare, would not have covered your treatment.
It wouldn't have covered my treatment.
Does not cover that treatment.
No. I wouldn't have had, if it wasn't for, honestly, and how many times you guys said it because you were with me. Did you come with me when I went to the hospital in New York?
Yeah.
Were you with me?
Yeah.
How many times did I sit in that hospital bed? And I was in that hospital bed and I had a team of doctors, the best doctors. And I wept in that hospital bed. This is because it's me. What happens to all of those people that don't have my name, don't have my resources? This is all happening. I have all of this because it's me. What happens to those people? Well, the thing you don't do is you don't cut off those people at the top that can have that epiphany and say, what happens to those people? You don't just cut it all off. Because that's what happens if you dump everybody into universal health care. Then there's nothing. What you do is you try to soften the hearts of the people who can't afford it.
So what happened was you had that thought and then you just dismissed it and you continued to live your life and do nothing about it. Either that or you made a sizable donation to that hospital. I forget which.
It's one of the two, though.
It's one of those two.
That particular hospital. There's another one. I had forgot about that.
Yeah, you made a sizable donation to that hospital.
I don't even want to go into it.
The same thing with the Carrick Brain. You're not going into it. I am. The same thing with the Carrick Brain Center. What is fat piece of crap Ed Schultz doing? I'm sorry, that wasn't terribly loving.
No.
What is he doing for people? Is he doing anything except yelling about Obamacare, which they jam down our throats through lies and deception? That's what he's promoting. More government, more government. What are you doing, Ed? Why don't you do something?
Though I will say it's important to be introspective at these moments as well, because we can get mad at Jonathan Gruber, but don't get mad at Jonathan Gruber for calling the American people stupid. Get mad at the American people for proving him right.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
Don't get mad at all. Don't get mad at all.
Well,
just dedicate to dedicate to change your life. Just dedicate.
That makes a good point.
It was until he yelled at me for saying the word mad.
Now, why are you mad at me? Why don't be mad at me?
I'm not. That was not the important part. The word mad. I don't think.
No, I know that, but
it's not actually mad. I'm just saying that we need, as a people, to be more responsible.
Yes.
And if I say it like this, perhaps you won't get upset with me, Mohandas Gandhi.
I'm not upset. I'm just never going on a starvation diet because of your stupidity.
There was no one in the audience who believed you would go into a starvation diet.
We fully were aware of that.
I will not stop eating because you're stupid.